Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Time for another sprint zone. This one's for 523, and it is a smoky day out there as the fires from Canada continue to plague us. Looking at the group, it's an excellent day. We have Ben Miller in the white, longtime guy from TTH coming to visit us after a little bit of illness. Got Brian in front of us, whole cast of strong men. And I would like to say the legend Matthew Michaels has returned to grace us in this event. I'm excited, and I'd like to thank some people here. I'd like to thank Byron Besseril for his footage that we'll see a little bit later from his camera. And the game is on. Coming around the corner, everyone is obeying the rules of engagement, not engaging until everyone's around the corner, which is true for all the sprint zones, but it's being stretched a little bit, and I figure I'd say something here. Anyway, let's look at some of the footage in the rear. The legend Matthew Michaels, aka Beast, being filmed by Byron Besseril, aka Superman. This is a DC versus Marvel showdown, and I am looking forward to seeing what happens when the big men collide. And there they go, up towards the front. This is unusual. Byron heading up towards the front early, getting the party started or recognizing the strength in the group and not wanting to be caught back. I'm sitting in, not feeling great. Did a century on Saturday, kind of unplanned. And so my legs are just a little bit soft. So I'm happy to sit back a little bit. Good shot of Marcelo there. Got Scott on my wheel, and we're starting to get organized. I'm loving looking at Byron's camera, seeing the face of Beast, seeing him sitting on the wheel. This is a view that I rarely, if ever, get to see, and I'm happy to have the footage by Byron. Also, like to thank Byron for his shout out on the TFR video that he did with his footage. Nice job. And here we go. We've got like two echelons forming here. I believe you've got Dean, who made a strong attack early on, and people are just catching up. Looking at some of the speeds here, already 27 miles an hour, and my heart rate is up to 156. Not near the limit, but it is a comfortable zone for me. Scott on my wheel, looking strong, and Rick Lutz back there, engaging in pursuit. Haven't seen Rick in the melee in a long time. I guess he's feeling strong, and Zwift has done him well. I'm just fascinated looking at the face of Beast back there on Byron's wheel. Most impressive, seeing how the big man struggles and or asserts himself to stay with the talent that is on this ride today. Got behind, and it looks like we've got an early selection. Looks like Jason back there, Brian back there, Marcelo, and up front we've got Ben Miller in the white, Greg right in front of me, who's riding a little bit into the wind. Not quite certain why he's doing that, but if he's got more than enough horsepower, I am happy to sit in his draft. Thing's still strung out, and you'll notice the speed looks like it's only 22 miles an hour, but there's a bit of a headwind here. Slight headwind with a echelon being formed because the wind is off of our right shoulders. Up speed increasing a little bit, 26 miles an hour as people are heading into the zone where the hurt locker is expected. Looking rearward, and you can see the heads nodding up and down as there are people struggling to stay in. Scott excellently on my wheel, having an easy time of it, and here we go. Matthew Michaels, the beast, going to the front as he did in the old days, getting the party really going. And this is something we haven't seen in a while because there has been lethargy and people were just sitting on the wheels. But what can I say here? I love seeing the OG coming back. Marcelo, quick to be on my wheel. Dean, who got me off a little bit, and I'm going around him. I was a little surprised, well, or maybe not surprised, that Dean gave up so quickly, but he is still in the hunt back there. You'll notice that the slight differences in the camera angles. I need to start my camera later because there's like a 12-second gap where the camera finishes filming the first and then continues on the second one, and I don't like that, so it screws up with the power numbers. Anyway, I did sync the power numbers with the end of the ride, so they're going to be correct from this portion on. Riding strong, I'm sitting on Danny's wheel, and I can see Danny is looking like he's strong, but he's swinging just a little bit at times, and we'll see that coming up here. Nice to see what it looks like from the both views at the same time. And you'll notice the difference in the GoPro versus the Insta360 output. Like the sky in my Insta360 footage, blue, where it might even be more correct in the GoPro, but I prefer the blue because it looks better for the presentation here. Anyway, coming up to the first bridge, the first little grade, and this is where attacks are made. Well done for Dean making it back into the group. And here we go. Looking at my wattage, 270. Let's see, 300. Are we going to get 400? Nope. Almost 300. And then we settle down there to stay in contention there. And Dean moves up. His recovery is impressive. In the old days, he would blow himself up, but perhaps now his coach is not watching and he can do what he wants. But regardless, it is good training. Looking rearward into Byron's camera, Dean looking really strong. And it looks like Danny is looking around for some help, even though I know he really isn't. But you could see the exasperation, and it looks like there is struggle in the rear. Some would say the struggle bus, but we're not quite there yet. Marcelo looking strong on my wheel. Jason looking strong on his wheel. Might have been a slight pushing of the yellow line. This car comes by really close. We thank him for being so courteous, no honking or anything. Danny struggles to accelerate back to Scott's wheel, and I must say, this wasn't really appreciated because I could see him struggling a little bit, and this meant wattage matches burned for me, not being able to just have the smooth ride and having a little bit of acceleration there. See my heart rate, and this is coming off of my wrist at 162. This means I am pretty much at my limit. Speed 27 miles an hour. So this is no joke here. And people are really going for it hard. This is one of the bigger selections as the group has gotten stronger. Steve Hyland coming back, and I let him in here because I know he's a strong man. This, in fact, might have been a mistake on my part, and we will show why that is later. Still going hard, 27 miles an hour. My wattage, 300 watts, and there's this little bit of a grade here, pushing hard. Everyone just trying to stay in contention. Danny standing up, trying to stay on, and it looks like it must be, is it Byron at the front? And you can see his camera. Curtis looking strong, and Curtis has an excellent position because Byron is so strong. And this is where Steve leaves a little bit of a gap here that I think I would have been able to make. But at the time, kind of recovering from the century, I'm like, I don't know. But Steve was smooth enough. Curtis coming back after trying to sit on Superman's cape, and it is a daunting task to do that. And everyone knows, like sitting closer in the peloton, closer to the pointy end of the stick, is much harder. Anyway, I am happy to film back here, people getting back in, Curtis back, and there's a further selection. Don't see Brian anymore, and this is where Steve lets a little bit of a gap open up. I'm hoping that he would be able to close this. And I was thinking to myself, should I have gone around? But that's pretty gassed. Because looking at my heart rate, 171, I am on the rivet. I'm beyond the rivet, so I'm just happy to kind of sit here. And if my wrist heart rate's giving me 172, if I had my regular, it'd be much higher than that. So I am totally gassed. Looking rearward, you can see Marcelo looking around, head dropping at times, showing that he too is on the rivet. Curtis looking pretty strong. Brian looking pretty strong back there as Steve is giving good draft. Looking at Byron's camera as he moves back to the front, and there again we get a look at the beast. Matthew Michael struggling hard, and look, his mouth is open and a gasp. Here, in my camera, it looks like we're sitting back here, and Steve has let the gap open up. Curtis comes through strongly, and I decide, okay, maybe it's time to come around. Curtis looks to see if anybody is coming with him, and here we go. Rearward, I get the rest of the contingent, the B selection, as they push hard. Danny gives up the ghost, and I am not surprised. Curtis looking strong, looking to see if he's going to bring people up, not attacking him, but looking to see if people will maybe come around and help. This last little sprint by Curtis, too much for me to be able to hang with, and I'm going to just let it shut down. Looking rearward, and here we go. Steve has recovered. If only Steve had maybe given up to Curtis and some folks earlier, we would have had a little bit of shared cooperation there. Anyway, I'm done for the moment. No need to sprint over top of this one. There are no prizes for 400th place. Well done, everybody. Well done. I love the huge selection. Love seeing Matthew Michaels back in the mix. I'm certain as the weeks progress that he's able to make it out because now he's training for a 70.3, so he's doing that very sports specific training, which has limited his cycling somewhat. But as the season progresses and no big events are on his calendar, or at least no A events, we can expect more showings from him. Well done, everybody. Well done. I enjoyed this one. A good time was had by all. I'm loving the fact that there was no lethargy at the beginning of this one. Well done. Well done. Thinking maybe next time I need to somehow start my camera later. Let's see what I can do about that. Although the camera has voice commands, I should try that. But I ramble. Anyway, good time. Oh, there's a shot of me and Matthew coming through, both in our old school kit, matching today, representing the old school racing team out of Boulder. Anyway, everyone, peace out.